So you've run between your toolbox and your project 100 times, or you've completely forgotten where you put your pencil again. I'm gonna show you 8 of the crucial accessories that I carry with me at all times. Let's get started. The first accessory is every carpenter's best friend, the square. Now the square I'm using is this Woodpecker Square right here. But the reason I love Woodpecker mostly is because they make their square out of one solid piece of metal. So this stainless steel edge that you see here is one solid piece and the handle is just attached to it, as opposed to a square like this guy. You can see I've got the handle and your flat edge here are actually just attached by 3 rivets. They're not made from one solid piece. So you get a lot less precision and accuracy in your square, opposed to this guy where it's gonna be square within 1/1000th of an inch, okay? So Woodpecker does a great job of CNC machining it and then having an additional computer laser scan it for its accuracy, which I just think is incredible. So actually, like, a really good point to show you is if I take this square and measure against this guy, you can see one of these squares is off, and I know which one it is. Because I've been using one and not the other, but this is a brand new square just taken off the shelf today. And you can see that they're not perfect. The other thing I love about Woodpecker is that they laser engrave all of their etchings there. And so every 1/16th of an inch, you're gonna have one of these diamond marks there that you see for a pencil, and they mark those clearly. And so I love that as well. But I love that it's laser engraved because that means it doesn't wear away easily. All those markings will last for a very long time. The very last thing I love about Woodpeckers, they're made in the USA. So they actually make these in Ohio, which is where I grew up. So shout out Buckeyes. Now the second accessory I always have with me is a straight edge. So a flat edge just allows you to lay flat on top of a surface without having to worry about that edge coming in your way that is on a square. So this is just a little 6-inch one. It's got metric on one side, US standard on the other. The other cool thing I like about this is I have a little conversion table here on the back. So I can actually convert between my metric into US, which, you know, that way if I'm reading something and it says, you know, it's 0.9 millimeters, this recently only happened to me. I was cutting laminations for a bent lamination project, and it said to set the table fence at 0.9 millimeters. Now I didn't know how much of an inch that was because my table saw measurements are obviously in the inches. And so this was actually able to help me kind of quickly get an idea of how much that was, which is less than 1/8 of an inch. Now the third component I want to talk about is the tape measure. Now this isn't any tape measure. This is what's called a Fast Cap brand is the name that makes this. And this is like your pro carpenter level tape measure. Now what's great about it is it actually doesn't cost that much more than just like a standard Wood River tape measure from Woodcraft. But what I love about it is a couple things. First off, this is a right and left-handed tape measure, meaning when I open up the tape, you're gonna have measurements on either side of it. That way, if I'm measuring with my right hand measuring something, I can see the numbers. And if I'm measuring with my left hand measuring something, I can see the numbers. So I've got numbers on both sides, which I love. Now the other cool thing, you're gonna see this kind of looks like a little chalky, not straight white or shiny, like you maybe see some standard construction tape measures. You can actually write on this with pencil or pen and it erases. So this is actually meant, the tape itself is meant for taking notes. You also have this little white area here, which is kind of like a dry erase board as well for pencil. So I can actually take notes and write on here and then erase it later as well. Now beyond that, you also have a stainless steel pencil sharpener built into it. So you can come in right here, if you're not using the Pica Pencil, which we'll get to in a minute, and actually just sharpen your pencil right on the tape measure. The other cool thing is you're gonna have this durable rubber here. Now this little rubber piece right here is actually built in and you can use it as an eraser. And so it's got a built-in eraser. You have multiple spots for taking notes. It's a right and left-handed tape measure. You also have every 1/8 of an inch, they're actually going to mark that for you so you don't have to do all the thinking and count yourself. You can actually find the 1/16 of an inch really easily that way. The last thing I love about this is it's got 2 spots for your lock. So usually you just have like a pretty standard thumb lock, right? But now on this one, you also have a finger lock. So even if your thumb is busy or something, I just find that's just an extra detail that is so convenient just to be able to press that button and lock the tape measure. Now the next accessory we have is my favorite, which I know sounds crazy because it is my pencil. This is the Pica Fine Dry Pencil. Now what I love about this is that it has an infinite amount of lead. What I mean by that is it's not just your average mechanical pencil. Up here, you've got your click mechanism there and your eraser, but the eraser actually pulls out, and then I can dump out a bunch of lead. Now, it's got like 5 pieces of lead that you can store in there, and you might be saying, Josh, why the heck does that matter? What I love about that is because it automatically reloads the lead once you've run out. So you almost don't even recognize when you run out most times, because you just click, 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 and it reloads a whole new lead in there. So basically you have to reload the lead like once in a blue moon. And so that's what I love most about it, is it never runs out. Now, what I also really like about this is the lead itself. Now, this fine pencil is what has known as the H lead that Pica offers. It is 0.9 millimeters thick, so that means you get precision without sharpening, as they say on the homepage of their website. But basically, it is break-resistant lead, it is weather-resistant lead, waterproof. So anytime you have sawdust or wood glue, you almost can draw right through it, and it still makes a line 90% of the time. Unlike normal pencils that I have that like clog up and you have to like wipe them off, keep going with the line. So you don't have to worry about that with the H lead. The other thing I love about it is it's break resistant. So a lot of times, you know, I'll be measuring a piece at an angle, or I might come in with a square and be drawing with the square and pulling along with the square, and that pressure alone can break the lead. Not so with the Pica. I have yet to break the lead on this guy. I even dropped it on his nose earlier, a couple days ago. It didn't break the lead either. Not sure how that's possible, but I really, really like the lead. One of my favorite things. It'll mark brick, it'll mark plastic, it'll mark metal, it'll mark wood, it'll mark sheet, pretty much anything known to man. They do have heavier duty leads available for their thicker lead pencils for the construction side of things, but I don't even know why you would do it. The last thing I love about this pencil is the holster. Now, this holster has a clip right here with a like anti-kickback clip, I guess I would call it. But basically, I can go ahead and clip into my apron here, and I might bend over and a lot of stuff comes out of my apron. I have yet to have this guy come out. With that, this is a tight seal, so this actually stops dust, this stops water, anything else from getting in there and messing with my pencil. So yeah, really like the holster. It's also got like these grip zones on it for anti-roll, so it stops it from rolling on slanted surfaces as well. All that to say, one of my favorite gadgets. I hope you can see why now. Definitely go ahead and get one and try it out. I promise you'll spread the gospel from there. They honestly, they do go on sale from time to time for around $12.99, so if that's more digestible and worth waiting for, do it today. Like I know today, the day of filming, they're actually on sale at Woodcraft for 1 day only. So anyway, keep around. I'm sure they'll come around on sale for the holidays. And yeah, let's get to the next one. Now, it's worth noting that they also sell lead in different colors. So we've got the black lead here, we've got the red as well as white that you can load up. So if you've got darker surfaces that you're marking, like darker woods like walnut or something, sometimes that white lead is actually preferable. I've actually been thinking about getting a second pencil and just loading it up with white for that reason, because I use a lot of walnut. So that's also a cool note. Just wanted to take a minute and say thank you for watching up until this point. I wanted to ask, if you have found any of this information helpful, I ask that you please hit that subscribe button. You have no idea how much that will help me, as I am being an aspiring dental student, content creator, furniture builder, you name it. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support and time just is here as well. And please hit that subscribe and like button. Now let's get back to the video. Now the next component is a pocket knife. Now, I just have a standard Sarge pocket knife here. Really, any pocket knife will work for what I'm using it for. You never know when you're gonna need one, whether it's opening a box, a package, cleaning off glue. Maybe you did misplace your pencil every once in a while. Just kidding, that would never be you, right? So let's say you did misplace that pencil, you could make like a marking line at the edge of the knife. Yeah, this is just a beat it up knife. You will find that you use it for the most random things in the world, but it's always good to have one marking it. Now, this probably should have been the first thing I mentioned, but the next component is going to be safety glasses. With safety glasses, I would probably also include ear protection. I use AirPod Pros just because of the noise cancellation and ability to listen to music. I know Festool and some other companies offer like Bluetooth compatible headphones that are noise canceling as well. With these safety glasses, I like having nice ones, okay? So I actually spent a little bit more money than just a couple dollars off Amazon, like some may, because I would not say that your standard glasses that you use for sight are considered safety. You want glasses that will wrap all the way around and shield from the side, as well as under, as well as above. Okay, so not quite goggles, but goggles. But yeah, these are also scratch resistant is the other thing I really like about them. I may bend over to grab something, they drop off my head, who knows what can happen to these. So having scratch resistant is important, having the rubber pieces is important, having those shields wrap around your eyes and dip down and come above is important. being prescription abilities, if that is something you need, is important. Not something I need yet in my life, although I have my first eye doctor appointment soon. Pray for me. But yeah, basically safety glasses, ear protection, make sure you're always wearing those. Now this is a Wixey digital angle gauge. The reason I love this is I will use this guy to quickly look at my angle, honestly, on a lot of tools. I'll use it on my table saw to check like my table against my blade, table against the fence. I'll use it on my joiner. I'll use it on the drill press behind me, on the bandsaw. I will test the angle on all sorts of tools just to make sure they're good. Especially me, I work in a shared space, and so that means people are constantly messing with tools. It's not going to be left the way I said it the last time. So having this guy on hand is crucial. This Wixey, what I like about it is it's a digital angle gauge, so it takes out some of the human error, if you will. They are accurate to a 100th of an inch, okay? So not quite as accurate as like my Woodpecker Square if I'm really trying to get like a perfect 90 degree on my blade and tabletop. But basically, you stick it on the table, it's got a zero out button, and then you stick it on your blade. It's got 3 magnets there on the bottom. Their newer ones just take AAA batteries, so they're totally worth it. And yeah, they're an awesome tool to have on hand, great for measuring angles, especially if you're trying to do a 45-degree angle. I found these are a world of a difference for trying to make boxes or miters of any kind. Bevels on a miter saw, they are great for making those accurate as well. So Wixey digital angle gauge, totally worth it. It's only about $30. The very last component I use is just your standard chisel. This is just a 1/2 inch chisel, but basically this is just kind of like the pocket knife. It's a beaded up chisel, okay? So I use this a lot for cleaning up glue lines like 15 or so minutes after they've been drying. But yeah, basically it's just your standard chisel. Again, use it for a lot of different stuff, whether it's cleaning up a joint, you know, chiseling off like a little cut off or tear out after a miter or right before. You'll never know like what a wide variety of tasks you will end up using a chisel for until you do. So I always recommend having one of these on hand. And again, it's just nice to not have to walk across the shop to grab one, but have it right there with you, okay? So definitely recommend carrying a chisel on your person. So these are the 8 components I think any beginner or intermediate woodworker should have with them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it helpful. We'll see you on the next video.